Hi, this is Tim Jones for Knowing Japan, and today I wanted to talk about being not able to speak the Japanese language, and can you get by just with English? Well, if you're a visitor to Japan, yeah, you can get by with just English. Most of the places and tourist places you would go to, you would probably find someone who speaks English. A lot of Japanese speak English, but many do not like to speak English. It's not that I shouldn't say they don't like to speak English, but Japanese tend to be, on the whole, not all Japanese, but many tend to be very shy, and they don't like to express themselves in another language. There are Japanese who do like to use English, but some are very shy to do that in public. So generally, if you go to restaurants in Tokyo that are frequented by foreigners, like Hard Rock Cafe or Outback Steakhouse, or any of the big chain like TGI Fridays, things like that, you'll find waiters and waitresses who speak English. Now, when I first came to Japan, it was in October of 1989, so almost 30 years ago. Most of the train stations had no English on their signs, and when I was making an earlier video, I was making a video of using trains and buses and etc. in Japan. And one of the things I wanted to do was take a picture of the train routes. They have a big map of all the train routes, and it's laid out in the station, and it has the names of the stations. And all the big stations in Tokyo have English. And I live in near a fairly big train station. For those of you that aren't familiar with Japan, the name of the station is Omiya, and it's in Saitama. Saitama is just northwest of Tokyo. Anyway, I decided I was going to take a picture of the train map with all the locations on it, and I never noticed, but it has no English on it whatsoever, none. When I first came to Japan, Shinjuku Station, which is the largest station, had no English. Now it does, but at the time I came to Japan, it had no English. So the one piece of advice I was given when I came to Japan was to learn. Japan has 3 types of writing. There is hiragana, katakana, and kanji. Hiragana and katakana are uniquely Japanese, but kanji comes from Chinese writing. And kanji is a little difficult to learn. I would say I'm functionally illiterate. As far as kanji goes, I might know maybe 1,000 or so kanji. I cannot read a Japanese newspaper, even though I can speak the language. I cannot read a lot. If there's too much kanji, I can't read it. I can read hiragana and katakana. Now, I was advised the first thing you should learn when you're learning to read Japanese is hiragana. But I think that was bad advice, because when you first come to Japan, unless you speak Japanese, hiragana is kind of useless to you if you don't speak Japanese. But if you're visiting Japan, I think katakana is more useful, because most menus, if you're going out to a restaurant to eat, most menus are written in katakana, and most foreign words are written in katakana. So it's, I think it's the most useful to learn if you're coming to Japan and if you're going to stay for a long time. If you're not going to stay for a long time, I don't think you really need a lot of Japanese. My previous video of Japanese phrases, that's about all you're really ever going to need when you come to Japan. Now, the biggest problem, I think, in my opinion, is reading city names, like the Chinese characters, or what they call kanji here in Japan, of the city names. And kanji can be very difficult. There's some that look almost identical, but they're completely different. I remember seeing one of the Spice Girls years ago. She had, I don't remember which one it was, she said she had the Japanese character for woman and power, but the kanji for power and the kanji for sword are very, very similar. And she had the kanji for sword, not for power. So she had woman's sword tattooed on her arm. A lot of people make mistakes with the Chinese characters, and it's very easy to do that. Be careful. You may think you're reading one thing, but you're actually reading something else. It's actually something else. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to put up, at the end of this, I'm going to put up some typical kanji that you might run into when you come to Japan. And that way you know what they mean. Like when you go to the train station. Now, like I said, most train stations usually have English, but some do not. And that can be a problem. So I'm going to put up, entrance, exit signs, emergency exit, north, south, east, west. Some typical kanji characters that you're going to run into that you may need to know. And they would be very important to know before coming to Japan. Otherwise, I don't think you really have to worry too much. Now, if you happen to be Chinese and you do know Chinese, you may not be able to read the characters in Japanese, but the meaning is the same. So you can usually figure out what it is. So if you do know Chinese, you can figure out what the Japanese is saying, even though you might not be able to read it in Japanese. So anyway, I'm at the end of, like I said, at the end of this video, I'm going to put some kanji up so you can see what they're like and know how to read them. Well, not necessarily read them, but you'll know what they mean and hopefully you won't get too lost in Japan. But like I said, if you're visiting Japan, and especially if you're coming to Japan next year, I've made these. Next year is the Olympics. Many people are going to come to Japan for the Summer Olympics. You might need to use these, but also Japan is preparing for many foreign visitors, especially English speakers, and they're hiring a lot of translators and tour guides that speak English. So you shouldn't have too much problem. But if you're going to stay in Japan long term, like I have, it's really good to know some Japanese. Otherwise, you're, as I call you, as I would say, you're functionally illiterate if you don't study Japanese. So anyway, good luck. If you have any comments or questions, or if you have something you would like me to answer, please leave a comment below, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Okay. And please, if you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe. By the way, if you want to know how to order food, check out our previous video. I am at local McDonald's ordering food with no Japanese, using only the picture menu. So check that video out. It's called Ordering Food. These are the three types of writing: hiragana, katakana, and kanji, or Chinese characters, that you'll see in Japan. Here is an example of katakana, and here is an example of hiragana. Here we have sun, hi, rain, ame, mountain, yama, moon, sugi, mouth, kuchi, ear, mi, hand, te, neck, kubi, gate, mon, door, to, sword, katana, thread, ito, rice field, ta, bug, mushi, person, hito, child, ko, eye, me, water, mizu, river, kawa, fire, hi, tree, ki, bird, tori, horse, uma, cow, ushi, dog, inu, fish, sakana. These are very common kanji that you'll see every day. You might also see them in combinations to make other words. Please keep in mind that kanji can sometimes have up to 4 different readings or sounds. I'm just giving you the common ones here. Here is an example of a combination. Milk uses ushi, but in this instance pronounced gyu, so milk is gyu-nyu. Beef also uses gyu with niku, which is meat, so you have gyu-niku.
Whoa. Whoa.